in, and we're going to start off pretty soon. Don't go away. It's early. The backyard is on and popping. If nobody is doing anything, you can come down. We have bouillon, we have fish, and we have saltfish and grand provisions. We have backs. I know you people love your backs to crush your bones. We have all of that. We have food, we have drinks, we have great company, and of course, we have music. So come on down, 1599 Lincoln Place between Buffalo and Ralph. We're here until, so go get that drink and we'll be right back. And we're back. That was a very quick, short, very, very good break. So, everyone, say hello to Jamel, and Jamel, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to
Here.
all of you.
So, Jamel is. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jamel. I mean, I gave everyone a short intro about you, but it's really wonderful when we have the individual really talk about themselves and let us know who is Jamel and what do you do.
Yes. So, first of all, I want to thank Touch Radio for this opportunity. I want to thank you for
Watch
being
radio.
Touch. Oh, sorry.
Watch radio.
Watch Radio.
That's okay. We
for
used
this
to be Touch
opportunity,
Radio.
and thank you for this opportunity to be on your show.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit about me. I'm 33 years old, and I am a three-time college graduate, receiving degrees from BMCC, the Borough Manhattan Community College, Brooklyn College, Baruch, and now I'm at the CUNY Graduate Center, where I'm working on my second master's, and this will be my fourth CUNY degree. I'm also a community activist. I love to teach and encourage our community's importance of getting involved civically by voting, by knowing who the power players are, and then on top of all of those things, really motivate the people how important it is that no matter what your situation or circumstances are, you can achieve your goals and dreams.
And that's really important. So, can you give us a little background about your life? I don't know if you want the viewers to know,
Sure.
but when I read your bio, I was quite in awe because it said that you were in the foster care system and you were in the
Yes.
foster care system for 8 years.
Yes.
And after growing out of the foster care system at the age of 21, you pushed yourself forward. You ended up going to college, going to BMCC, going to Brooklyn College, and these are my two schools, by the way.
Yes. Awesome.
And you went to Baruch, which is a very known for business. It's a known business school, and you have your master's in political science, I believe,
Public administration.
public administration, and you're undergoing something
Second.
now in political science,
Yes.
right? Okay, so all right, I have that one right. So tell us, why is it that you have branched off from business administration to go into political science? Why is political science such an interest and a dream of yours to go into?
Well, first, since I was a little boy, since I was 7 years old, I always told my dad I'll be either one or two things, that I'll either become a lawyer or become president of the United States. The lawyer route has not been my route,
Dwindled.
so I'm still on the go to becoming president of the United States, and it's been that way ever since. And what I share is the embodiment of everyone's story, that everyone does not have the opportunity to, start off on a good note. Like, life really happens, and it is my job to prove to the world and prove to others that, despite your circumstances, you can make it. Both of my parents are deceased. I lost my dad when I was 10 years old and
Wow.
recently lost my mother 5 years ago.
Wow.
And my foster mother, who raised me for those 7 years, she also passed away back in 2004. So I was dealt with serious
A lot of
losses.
trauma, a lot of, yeah.
And despite those things, I decided to rise up and continue to show that despite whatever that has stood before me, I can still achieve the goals that I wanted to do. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to lead by example.
And that is so interesting. That is so empowering, and it's a story in its own that really pushes you forward and really makes you think about, like, okay, if he can do it, then I can do it.
Yes.
Um, Tell us some of the projects and some of the things in the community, whether it's projects or whether it's you just coming up with something to help. What have you done so far in the community to really make awareness into certain things?
Yes. First and foremost, as I said, I love to do civic engagement, so I do a signature workshop called Understanding the Power of Your Vote.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, last Thursday we had our primary
Right.
election, which we had a very high turnout than previous years,
Mm-hmm.
and which was awesome because I think people are really understanding the importance of voting. And so I constantly empower our community the way we understand why voting matters. I also recently this year started a new campaign called the Motorcade of Care, which is an opportunity for the public to get involved by donating, slightly used items to give to young people and young adults who are aging out of foster care, because I know what it felt like to
To
be
come out of foster care and
and
not
not
have
have much.
anything.
And so I was thankful to say that my first time, we collected over 9,000 items.
Wow.
Our goal was 50,000, but this was a strong start, and so next year we're going to be doing that again.
Have you guys already started to distribute to the foster care children, or are you planning to do a bigger event where you will have, probably film it, have the individuals come and get them or whatnot?
Yeah, what we did, we will be doing a much bigger event, and all the items that we've collected are given to the Administration for Children's Services, which is the city's foster care system,
Mhm.
which then they will go through the items and then pass it out to the respective foster care agencies.
So, in the fact that you're a political student, tell us what in politics is your main concern? What is it in politics that you really want to stress on and focus on?
Well, I think with politics right now, it's all about the people really getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Voting is definitely the first priority.
Right.
But after voting, it's really holding your elected officials accountable, finding out where they have their meetings, finding out what they're discussing that's affecting you and your community, and making sure that if they're not doing their job, you put pressure on them to do their job or else vote them out. And so I feel like it's so important that our communities really be civically engaged to where people who would normally not look at our communities seriously will now say, wow, the numbers have gone up. We need to take this community seriously because they want to make sure that their voices are heard.
In terms of the Caribbean community and the Caribbean diaspora, we do have members who are not legal in the United States and cannot vote. What do you suggest that they could do? Because some of those individuals are very interested in politics and would really like to see certain changes, whether it could be, I've heard of situations where people are in certain housing and it's not it's an apartment, but it's the homes that put through, like probably 3 bedrooms or whatnot, and individuals may have issues in terms of housing, and maybe their landlord is giving them problems, little things like that, and they don't know where to turn or what to do, who to go to, who to ask questions. And some of them may think that it is because they are not legal that they don't have rights, or they cannot go and ask questions. So my question to you is, how do you assure these individuals, or what can we say to these individuals to let them know you can make a difference, or you can voice your opinion, or you can be a part of something even though you are not a legitimate resident of the United States?
Yeah, I think, it's very sensitive how this is happening, where there are so many non-U.S. residents who want to speak up and say things, but they can't because they are fearing for their status here in this country. And we have to do much better in terms of a full, true, comprehensive immigration policy. But what I say when I'm presented with that question is those individuals who are within the Caribbean diaspora who are in the United States and may not want to say anything, they know a U.S. citizen. And they can bring their voices and their issues to that
Through that
U.S.
person.
citizen, and therefore they can speak on behalf of that individual, which is what I do all the time. A lot of my friends and family members in the community who I know really share with me issues that are going on, and because they can tell it to me, I can then relate it, while keeping their confidentiality in order.
So it's really important to have that rapport with individuals in councils,
Yes.
individuals who have some kind of link, some kind of social interaction
Yes.
with people who can make a difference, or people who can guide them
Yeah.
to making a difference.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about the steps that you plan to have in the next, let's say, 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I think right now I'm on a very unique path in my political career because I've always believed to do something different. I don't like to follow what everybody else has done because then that doesn't make you unique. And so one of the first things that I'm doing right now is I'm preparing to write a book, which will be
Interesting.
yes, which will be out by next year, the end of next year. It's entitled Daring to Be Different because that's what I stand by. And I am also going to continue to take, civic engagement on the road. Like I said, I'll have my 4th CUNY degree this December, and with hopes of getting into the PhD program, become a historic 5-time CUNY graduate, which is something that I don't think has been done before, especially to...
You've done your research on it, and you
I've
haven't
done
seen-
my research on
Right.
it, especially for a person of color.
Right.
And me being explicitly a black man. And so I want to show, continue to show our communities that we can do it, and that I'm a product of public housing. So I'm accomplishing all my degrees
Under
while
the
living
system, just
in
like the
public
average
housing.
Joe.
Just like the average Joe.
Right.
And so between that and really, going to other communities and hearing their understandings, because it's important to hear both sides. And while doing that, having my fun. So, like, I don't know if I shared, but I'm also the executive vice president for Karma Carnival.
Oh, I did not
Yes.
know that.
Yes, so shout out to Curtis Brown and the Karma family.
Okay.
And so we look to, show our communities the fun side of things, because in this city, unfortunately, the
It's all
image-
about work and
work
and
and
school
work.
and home, and no time to
Right.
enjoy life and enjoy your loved ones. It's
Yes.
very difficult to make the time, and you either have to forfeit something for you to be able to do something else.
Yes.
So, yeah.
People's lives, especially in this city, is so busy, and we want to, show them that we're here for them to have fun, explore different cultures, and enjoy yourself. And so those are some of the things I'm looking to do.
So what really interests me is that you're going to be a 4-time CUNY graduate and hopefully a fifth time CUNY graduate. Why CUNY? Because you could have chosen other schools out there. I wouldn't say more recognized schools, because in my opinion, CUNY has produced phenomenal, really outstanding individuals who has done so much over the years. But my thing is, why CUNY? A lot of people, they will do their first or second, they'll do their bachelor's, they'll do their master's, but their PhD or their second master's, they will go onwards, whether they do it, they move, or they do it online or something to that effect. Why you're doing everything CUNY?
I think I'm doing everything CUNY because, number one, I really love this system that it has. And secondly, CUNY has some of the best schools in the country. That's right
I
here in our
completely
own
agree.
backyard. And I distinctly remember in high school when we was applying to schools, they never mentioned CUNY to us. They always told us to go away,
Harvard,
head, go down south or go out west or
Right.
go up north. And that's not something I really wanted. Even applying to other schools where I did apply to Columbia and NYU and I didn't get in, it was just, I felt that, CUNY was giving me the opportunity of receiving a top quality education while still representing my city. And I think what's so important is that CUNY can't be CUNY without the people of the city. I know that we're attracting the international market, but people who are residents in this great city should know that there are phenomenal colleges in their own backyard that gives the great education and tons of resources that will help you to get through.
I was told that Brooklyn College has the largest library in, I believe, in
I
all of the
believe
CUNY,
that is correct.
or the individual said something bigger than that,
Mhm.
but definitely all the biggest library in all of CUNY. And I know that Brooklyn College has housed some really great individuals,
Yes.
whether it was actors, really good people in politics, in business. So, I mean, that's just Brooklyn College. We have Baruch, we have York, we have
Yes.
this
Queens
one in Staten
College,
Island, Queens
CSI,
College. We have so many
City Tech,
colleges
Medgar
that,
Evers.
and the wonderful thing about CUNY is that you have colleges in all five boroughs.
Yes.
Every single borough has a college. Brooklyn has Brooklyn College, of course. We have some downtown
Yes,
Brooklyn.
City Tech.
Um,
That's right.
and it's just amazing that you have all of those colleges housed under that umbrella. And people would not understand that it's such a huge system.
Yes.
It is a system that is ginormous, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a ginormous
It's a
system.
very big system.
It's a really big system. And it's just amazing that people don't appreciate. And it's the people who are in Brooklyn, the people who are in the Bronx, the people who are in Manhattan, they do not appreciate what the CUNY system has to offer. They think that because that they are living here, that it's not good enough. And you would be surprised to know the number of students who come from different states, all 50 states. The other 49 states, you will be surprised at the number of students who flock to Brooklyn College every single semester.
Yes, they do it. I mean, our colleges are very unique, and I will say that there are many students who live and are born and bred in this city who are aware that there are phenomenal colleges in their own backyard. And I just think we need to continue to promote our great university because, again, what good is it that our high schools are encouraging, future college students to go away? And don't get me wrong, I believe in going away, if it's going
To
to help you,
experience things, to experience
things.
life.
But you can still experience life right here in the city. I've experienced life right here in this city.
Or to at least start off, because
Right.
every single college offers at least, I think every college offers is most of what people would like to do, whether it is film, whether it is
Yes.
directing, whether it is business, it's law, it's accounting. All of the schools offer a wide range of degrees, and I think in some of them you can even develop your own degree
Yes,
as
you
well.
can create your own degree. And I think that's what makes it so unique. And again, you're receiving the top quality education that you would receive at a Harvard or a Columbia or NYU.
For
Those
for a
professors,
fraction of the
right,
price.
for a fraction of the price. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So that's one of the main things that I love. And again, the fact that I am in the CUNY, being a CUNY student since 2006, where I've been a part of this, this journey while living in public housing, while living in Brooklyn. It shows that, we are successful and that, people in our communities are doing great and wonderful things. And we have to constantly share those stories.
We do. Tell us a little bit about, I know in your bio I read that you are interested or you do a lot of training. Tell us about the training aspects in your journey.
Yes, I always believe that telling your story is the greatest asset that you have. People will never be able to relate to understand to you unless you are willing to share your story, and that means being in a space of vulnerability. And so one of the trainings that I started doing is encouraging people to really not be afraid to share their story because your story can literally save someone's life. I hear when people say, well, words are words, but let your actions do the talking for you. And when you say that, people see the success. People see like, oh, I made it. I accomplished this degree or I accomplished this position or I opened up this business. But how can they know they can get there if they don't really understand the behind the scenes of what it was like to cry every night, to pray, and to have no food or to barely have transportation to make it to a 8 a.m. meeting to try to get this grant that's going to help your business, the
Right.
launch. And so I train people to share their story with that, as well as training leadership, leaders, because I love being a leader. And there are so many people in our community who are leaders,
Right.
who just from the basic standpoint, if you're that kid when everybody comes on the block and say, hey, what we doing today? That's showing leadership because they're depending on you to say
And they look to you
what we're
to
going to
see
do
what's
for the day.
happening. Yeah.
Right. And so I really like to teach leadership because I want people to know that they are powerful, that they are the game changers that we've been looking for. We do not have to wait for the next person to come up and thrive. Like, we can do it ourselves. And if we really believe in that and activate it, we can change our society. And so those are, the main workshops. I also do a lot of workshops focusing on young adults because I do not believe my generation has a platform on a national scale to talk about everyday common issues that we're facing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we cover topics from sex and relationships to colorism to understanding fashion. Like our next one, we're going to be talking about racism. What is racism like being a millennial?
So where do you have those talks and those?
So usually it's very intimate with a bunch of my friends and family, but this particular one, which will take place in October, will be Facebook Live because I feel like we need to share
And
to the
branch
world
off and let everyone
and let
know
people
what is really
see and
happening.
hear what we're dealing with, from something basic as walking into a beauty supply store and you automatically being followed to having a police officer, watch you as you swiping your card on the train station. Like, we deal with so many issues of racism that
We think that it's normal,
and we literally think it's normal, and
or
it
it's
shouldn't,
nothing.
and we shouldn't. So those are some of the trainings that I do.
What have you been interested, or I know you're talking about young adults and you're talking about, informing young adults and individuals about aspects in society, in the community. What are your thoughts on children younger than, let's say, 15, 14, going down to, from middle school to that age? What are your thoughts on how individuals, families can go about really directing those young kids, putting them on the right path and helping them in ways of, whether it is education, whether it is, as you said, dealing with certain types of racism, dealing with, being comfortable with who they are, what they want to do in life? How do you go about that? Or do you guys really look into it? Is it something that you're looking into? Is it something that you are interested in?
It is something that I'm interested in, and I can give you a short version of that answer because my primary focus is those above 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain that why in a minute. But to answer the first question, I think it's very important that we adhere to the statement, it takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
I strongly feel communities today do not hold on to that essence of really everybody coming together to invest in each other's children. And I know that it is tough by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a single mother or a single father who is working 2 jobs and can barely make it home in time to cook dinner, and then you got to study for classes,
Mm-hmm.
I understand how challenging that may be.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be so much easier if you knocked on your neighbor's door and you got to know them
Mm-hmm.
and be acquainted with them, filter them out to see, okay, this is a strong mother or this is a strong father. I
Mm-hmm.
think we can work together to make it, make things right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to really hold on and really get back into the essence of understanding that it takes a village to raise a child. Our parents today's generation of parents need to go and reach out to our elders and ask them for guidance, because I strongly feel a lot of parents today do not know how to parent. I think that it's challenging when you see them on the bus and the train as you're walking around, how they're talking to their children. And kids' minds
Kids
are
are
like a
sponges.
sponges.
Mm-hmm.
So if they hear mom or dad cursing, they're going to follow suit.
Obviously.
They see mom and dad's gyrating in a way that's inappropriate, they're going to do it. And with social media, instead of calling it out, we amplifying and saying that's okay, and it's really not
Or
okay.
it's funny, or it's cute.
Right.
Or oh, I remember there was this little boy. I don't know. I think I probably blocked the person that was doing it because it was so annoying. There was this little boy who can really gyrate, as you say, like really whine, really whine, and that kid had a waist that was complete elastic, I swear. And he couldn't be no more than 9 or 10, maybe even less, I would say. And couple of videos, surface videos here, videos there, you'd see him whining, which is fine, like
Right.
he's whining by himself. But then they had to take it a step further, and they showed him whining on this grown woman, a grown woman that's old enough to be his mother, his aunt, something. And you know, the person is filming it, and they're edging the child on, and they're edging the woman on like it is something that it was so good. And I remember looking at that video, and I said to myself, but don't they think that this is just a little too much, or going way over on the bar of entertainment? And yes, this child has a whining waist, and he's been on this platform whining, he's been on that event whining and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when you get to a point that he's going to be doing that behind or in front of a grown woman
Yeah.
who is gyrating just as much, or whatever the case may be, where does it stop? Or what's the logic behind it? Are you enhancing that child's life by filming him doing that? Are you doing anything that is beneficial to him by filming that? What is the gain behind this? What is the gain in doing that? Or when they film kids at a kids party, and a whole bunch of them grinding and whining on walls, and they think that it's something to film and to put on social media. And we ask ourselves, we stay there and we say, why are you talking like that to your mother or whatnot? But then at the end of the day, we as parents allow certain things, and it all begins at home. Charity begins at home. This is something that I grew up with from my grandmother, and it stayed with me. Charity begins at home. You cannot expect certain things to come about from the children that you are raising or the children that you are growing up with if you yourself are not doing it.
I agree. I mean, with social media right now, I do not believe parents understand that once your image is out there in cyberspace, it is very difficult to remove those images, because all it takes is one person to share or one person to download it, and your image is tainted. And this young man or this young woman didn't even get a chance to experience life yet, and they already have a cloud lingering over them to say, wow, you know, I hear you want to apply for this job, but was this you 12 years ago? And you're already setting them up for failure. So as parents, we have to be accountable and hold each other accountable to say, you know what, that is not appropriate. Because I know, listen, I was born in 85, so I say we the last generation to learn discipline.
The millennials.
We couldn't, us millennials, we couldn't, if we did an ounce of that, and like I said, I grew up in East Flatbush, my mom and dad loved when I was out, I was the party guy and everything, but there were certain things I knew I couldn't do because my dad or my mom would pop me, like, no, you don't do those things. But now it's like it's being glorified and it's being amplified, and it's not helping the recipient who is, you know, at the receiving end of
especially
those
later down the
pictures.
line.
Exactly.
They're all grown up before they even have experienced teenage years, or, you know, older than that. They have completely bypassed 10 years and gotten to a level. So this is why they say kids have kids.
Yes.
Because they have no idea what they're doing. They're just copycats of individuals who are just doing things and not paying attention to the cause and effect.
And I will say this is so important too, and this is all parents that are listening, anyone who knows a parent. Encourage your child to be whatever they want to be. If they switch it up 30 times, if they switch it up 100 times, I don't care. You support them, because at the end of the day, that's a good thing. because they are experiencing different things of what they want to do in life, and we can't restrict them because of morals, values, and principles. Your children are destined to be phenomenal individuals, and they have a mind, they have a life just like we do, you know. And you can tell because there are people of generations past and even today's generation, if you go to certain jobs, they're miserable. That's not really what they're supposed to be doing. And if you were to do a guesstimate survey, why did they do it? They was a good
I
number
was
of people would say,
told.
I was told, my parents, or it's just a lineage thing. And it's like, why put people through
Well, we
those
do
things?
that all the time because people don't understand what self-authorship is.
Yes.
So if you cannot understand what self-authorship is, then how can you be able to teach it and push it down the line
Yeah.
and make it sustainable for those coming after you?
Agree.
So in the end, it's not really about certain aspects of it is about, okay, you know what you should be doing, and you know you probably shouldn't be doing this in front of your child, but a lot of it is about education and learning who you are as a person. A lot of people have grown up. I mean, even with me, and I'm not a millennial. I'm a little bit but even with me, when I was growing up, my grandmother, my dad, my mom always wanted to tell me what to do. Like, yeah, you need to do this and make sure you finish school and then get married and then have kids and then do this and then do that. Or they would say, don't do this class, do that. And I ended up going to convent because they did not want me to go to Compre or whatever. And St. Lucians know what I'm talking about when I say a certain school. So I went to convent, which was an all-girls school, and it was considered to be one of the best schools in St. Lucia. But at the end of the day, in my years at convent, I realized it wasn't really so, because you had students coming from schools that were considered to be lower than convent, and they were doing extremely well.
Yeah.
They had amazing teachers, amazing faculty in the schools. So what's the difference? You know, they just think that it's because it's just an elite source and an elite way that people are programmed to think that this is better as opposed to that.
Yes.
And because of those things, people are brainwashed in the sense that they think that this is the only way. There is no other way around it except to walk that path.
Right.
And if you take that other path, then it's not as vital, it's not as recommended. It's not as recommendable as opposed to taking the path that they know and they think that you should take.
Right. And I think that's all about the essence of showing love to anyone that is looking to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve.
And education too,
And
because if
education,
you
yes.
educate yourself, if you really think about what is being said to you,
Yeah.
and you really question it and
Yeah.
really dissect it and say, okay, but why is this being said,
Exactly.
and why is this expected of me?
Mhm.
What is the reason for it? I'm not saying that you have to be completely rude and
Right.
completely disrespectful, but I'm saying there are times that you have to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you look to find the answer to those questions.
Agreed.
And with that, it comes for you to educate yourself. And people are too quick. They are just so quick to take whatever that is said for the truth,
Yes.
or for they take it for what it is. And yes, it was said, but who said it? Oh, I saw it on Facebook.
Yes. Yes. A lot of
But you saw it on Facebook. How do you know that it's real?
Exactly. I think
That's a
we're-
typical example.
Right. I feel like we're losing the power of curiosity, which is asking the question behind the question, which we don't do anymore.
No.
We're so lazy. We're so reliant on social media being our news that people aren't doing. There are a few people like myself who take the time to look at it and understand, be like, no, actually, that's not true. Let's take a look at this. But everybody wants the news so quickly, which is why in news, especially in the United States,
Mhm.
if it's not entertainment or sports, it ain't nothing positive, you know? That people rather constantly hear things was happening with entertainment
If it's not gossip.
versus
Mhm.
if it's not something productive for the community.
Mhm.
Or if they're showing things about the community, who's the target audience? Why is it consistently negative for one and always positive for another? And so those images all come together in playing a role of how a person will grow up because they are following norms and trends with, like I said, within the home or outside of home or even both. That is going to then determine the direction that they're trying to go. And we got to learn to teach and encourage everyone to be their own unique selves. We have to, like by default, we're already unique because there's over 7 billion people in the world. There's only one of us.
There's only
After
one
us,
of
there's
you.
no more. Imitate it. You can imitate us, but you'll never duplicate us.
Right.
And it's something that we have to embrace and really enjoy about life, about our successes, no matter what we try to do. Because there are always someone who is waiting for that spark to be like, you know what? He did it, so I can do it too. Or you did it, so why can't I? The people that we look to, they're far to reach. They're hard to reach. You're not going to get to a Kim Kardashian or a Cardi B because they got like millions and millions of people.
Or they started with the spoon already.
All right.
In
Or
their
they
mouth.
started with a different thing, and their path is not your path. And so we have to follow our own path and do it in a way that's going to make us happy, that's going to make it so unique and so exciting that when we share this down the road, people will be inspired.
Now, we're not saying to belittle your dream
Of course not.
or to bring down the levels of the dream that you want. But we are saying that when you look at things to aspire to, or when you look at people to aspire to, look at people who are relatable to you
Right.
and to your life. Is that where we're getting
Yeah,
at?
I mean, a best example is you gotta see it at all times to believe it. And a great example of that, like I said, I've always wanted to be president of the United States, still to this very moment. And I'll never forget, I had an opportunity to go to the White House while President Obama was in office, December 13th, 2016. And I took my mentee, my best friend, my godbrother with me to have that experience, to actually be there. And I'll never forget when they was all joking around, talking to the women and everything, while I was literally in the
Having a
zone
panic
through
attack.
each room.
Looking
And-
at each room.
And my best friend was like,
What are you
"No, what are you
doing?
doing? Like, you're not having fun." I was like, "Bro,
You
I don't
don't
think you
even
understand.
understand.
Like, I'm going to live here. I need to see myself in every room.
walking down the
Walking
corridor.
down the corridor because it's going to be different. Like we're on this side as a visitor, but this when my time comes, you will be a visitor seeing me in this home that we have visited.
And if you
several years
picture
ago.
it, then you are putting it in the universe
Right.
that this is what you want.
And you have to speak life into it at all times. The world may or may not do it for you, but you better be your number one cheerleader of your goal. You have to constantly say it. If people laugh at it, keep saying it because the world doesn't want to see people at times be successful. But
Did
then
you
you gotta
read the
show.
book Alchemist? Because a lot of what you're saying is from that.
Oh no, I have
Yeah.
yet. I have not read the book.
You
This
need
is
to read that book. It
things
is a
from my
very
heart.
it is a very powerful book because the main aspect of that book is talking about you showing the universe, showing the most powerful.
You're right.
You're showing the universe that you are getting there,
Right.
and the universe can only give you the tools if they see that that's what you want and you are pushing yourself and you are working towards it. They will give you the necessary tools to get what you most desire. And this is what the whole book is about. It's about a young man who was looking for something, and all the time he had it, and
Yeah.
he thought he got what he wanted, and he lost it. And at the end of the day, he realized that he had it
Yeah.
all along. It was just right there. It was so. It was like you and I sitting right next to each other, and he thought he had to go to distances to get it.
No, something. We are extremely intelligent individuals, and when we see something that we want to go for, we'll go for it, right? We could just start from the basics. If I see a pair of shoes that is on sale and I've been wanting it, I'm gonna go and do whatever I got to do to get it. If I want to go see an artist in concert and I want to be down front, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get there. So we need to have that same mindset when it comes to our goals and dreams, no matter how big, no matter how impossible it may seem, because you can change the impossible to make it become possible.
Possible to make it reality.
And all it takes is a spark to begin, one step at a time. And so if I could be the leader of that change and telling people I'm doing it differently, I'm not, doing it the typical way that you've seen predecessors do, like I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and I went to school, and I'm doing, all these sort of things. Like, that's a different path from the norm, and that's what people want to see. People want to see different. Like, your time, like, being in this show, next thing you know, you're gonna have an even larger studio, and you be gonna have even larger guests than me that's gonna come and talk to you and share. And that's because you're consistently believing in it all the time. And that's what we all have to do. We have to believe and invest in our dreams, because if we don't, no one will.
So I want to go back to some of the things from your
Yes.
bio. I remember reading that you are part of a number of different entities, a number of different organizations, political, religious, and you're part of I think it's a workshop or a training program or something with students. Is it with students, or is
Yes.
it?
So I was, so I'm currently now a member of the New York Urban League Young Professionals,
Right.
which is a phenomenal organization for us millennials, who's trying to really get their feet wet and network with the community across the city. I'm also, like I mentioned, the executive vice president for Karma Carnival, which is led by Mr. Curtis Brown, who's the CEO. I'm also a member of president of this organization called Young People for Young People, which is designed to be advocates for individuals who are coming out of foster care.
Mm-hmm.
And, on the spiritual base, I'm a member of Bridge Street African Methodist Episcopal Church, where in Bedford-Stuyvesant, where the Reverend David Cousins is my pastor. So I put myself in these different places because you have to be seen. If young adults aren't at the table, who's going to really vouch for us? I used to be on the community board 8, and I plan to get back on my community board because it's so important with the changes that are happening that young adults' voices are at the table, present to say what we want or what we don't want in our communities. And so, I'm really doing my part to really be an advocate for everyone, from young to the wise, and showing that, we do care. I know there's a lot of negative stigmas about us millennials, but there are a lot of us who do care and want to see our society thrive and be successful while having fun and being unique. Like, I'm thankful to say that as a public figure, I can do my political work and still have a great time. And the people who know and understand me and understand my story know this man is being different. Like, best example, I was on Labor Day parade this past September, earlier September. And in the morning, I walked with my elected officials, my councilwoman, the Honorable Alika Ampry Samuel, the members of New York City Council. Had a great time. Right after that, changed my clothes, put on my costume, went back on the road with Karma, and we had such a wonderful time. And the people who saw those pictures was just like, wow, like, I wish more people could do what you do. Like, I wish they couldn't be afraid to be authentic and be unique. And it's so sad that people are afraid to be themselves. And it's like, you will be surprised how much your life will be so much
Much
easier
better.
and better
So fulfilling.
and
when you
fulfilling
can just
when
be
you can be you. People are gonna like it or hate it regardless. So
and
you might
just
as well
live
do
in
it
who you are.
by just being who you are. And I stand by those words. And that's what's gonna I strongly feel that's what's gonna help me to get to that peak.
So after you attain your master's, your second master's, and you are going to work on your PhD, will you be looking to get yourself into the Senate, into
So
House of Reps?
No, I think I'm going to take the state route. Like I said, last year I did run for city council. It was one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. And it taught me a lot of things, both good and bad, but you don't stop. And, and this is so important, when you believe in your goals and dreams, you don't wait for the next person to, present an opening. You make your own opening and you do it your way. And so I'm looking to, down the road, run for governor. Like, why settle myself for something small when I know who I am and I know my power and I know my influence and I know my character, that I am much bigger than, what I am allowing my mind to do. And so, dare to be different. Kid straight out of Brooklyn. Could you imagine living in public housing, become the next governor in 2022, like that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because and then it will make me among the youngest at 37. So I've already had the vision of seeing how this looks, because it's important to see what that feeling can be like. You don't have to worry about necessarily all the details and everything, because
Mm-hmm.
the world's going to give you those details. Oh, you shouldn't do this, you should wait, you should go up this and do that. And it's like, why?
Have you gotten any advice in terms of, oh, maybe you shouldn't run to do governor, maybe you should do maybe a councilman, House of Reps, and or
Yes, I've
whatnot?
gotten those here and there. Definitely
Because a
wait
lot
your
of people,
turn.
that's where they have started. They've
Right,
started with being a councilman, being a rep for
right,
their district, then branching off and being part of the House of Reps, then
right.
branching off and being part of Senate. So your version is no. I don't have
No,
time for all
we
of
don't
these
got time
things.
for that.
I know what I'm
I
about.
have
I'm just gonna jump the
literally,
gun and
right.
just head straight down the river.
I have one life. You know, our lives is not a video game. In video games, you know, you can have 9, 10, unlimited lives.
Start over.
Start over. This is one time. And especially in the political realm, you hear that all the time. You should wait, you should wait, you should wait. So I'll be waiting, what, 20,
For
30
what?
years
Or
to
for
do
who?
when the person who you guys are constantly endorsing or promoting is not really doing anything, but you're focused on power versus people. I'm focused on people. The power will come as I'm doing the job to serve the people. So if I'm given the power and the people are entrusting me with that power, then I'm going to go for the maximum. I'm not going to just, wait, because you wouldn't tell those individuals to wait. And
Mm-hmm.
if they did wait, whether it was good or bad, they could have probably done a lot more, years ago, if they would have allowed themselves to say, no, I am bigger than this, and I can't be afraid to challenge the
Mm-hmm.
status quo, to be that difference maker. So,
So I'm gonna look out for Governor Jamal in 2022. That's just like what, in
it's
another
literally
4
4 years from
years?
now.
4 years from
Yeah,
now.
literally 4 years. And so between now and then, it's just
So what
constantly sharing my
processes are you
story.
taking to get to that level? I know that when those campaigns are starting off, it usually starts off right after the last one. Am I correct?
Yeah,
So
depending on who takes it seriously, yeah.
right. So what steps are you taking to get there?
So right now, it's all about doing research.
Mhm.
I always believe, even when you're entering a new battlefield, you gotta recognize and recon the entire playing field. So
Mhm.
seeing, what this past election has interpreted for me,
Mhm.
that the country, the state is still kind of divided between upstate and downstate, and
Mhm.
looking at all those different things, and then saying, okay, what is going to make me different in my journey versus everyone else? And again, this is all about daring to be different. So my journey to getting that opportunity to run for governor will be absolutely different, because I'm doing it in the way that I feel is best. And so it's literally doing that, but just also by going around to our communities, making sure that they're not only civic engaged, but just sharing your story and inspiring them to go for it. You'll be surprised how many people hit me up on Facebook or on the side and just be like, I heard your story. It was so amazing. I just want you to know you saved my life, because because of your story, I'm able to now go for it. Especially in high school and junior high school, kids in our communities that say, wow, I wasn't going to say anything, but I relate to your story exactly, and I want to thank you for sharing that, because now I'm able to go and do what I need to do. And so those are some of the things that I'm looking forward to doing. You know.
And it's I think from what you're saying to me, it's just really important for you to really connect with the people of your
Yes.
community, because through the connection and the relatable values that you have with them, I think that's where a lot of the support and a lot of the drive will come through
Yeah.
towards your goals and your dreams. I think when you have a huge community behind you, knowing you, supporting you, seeing your journey themselves from beginning to middle to end, that it makes it all worthwhile. It makes it more
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. And I'm thankful for my community, who constantly are not only holding me accountable, but are praying for me and knowing that they're in my corner. Like, there was things that I said I was going to do this year, and I can't. It still is amazing that to believe I did it. Like, this year, I did 4 commencement keynote addresses. Like,
And could you tell us where
so
you did
like
it?
I did one at the Uncommon charter preparatory high
Uncommon Charter.
school.
Mm-hmm.
I did one at Fort Greene Junior High School. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one. And then I did one for an award ceremony at a school in Midtown, and I did one not too long ago for another junior high school. And so, you know, to hear that the schools want to hear that story
Mm-hmm.
is very honorable for me, because the schools are now understanding that
And
they
paying
need
attention.
to hear from the everyday individual, not the person that, like you said, had the silver spoon and did all those things. No,
Yeah.
the person that has struggled and is not afraid to share the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, in one of the commencement speeches, I said, how many of you all remember having a custom-made sandwich with just, you know, ketchup, mayonnaise, and whatever? You let your imagination run wild because you had to wait for that next day to get something to eat.
Right.
And these are the type of stories where people could be like, not only, oh, I relate to it, but
Mm-hmm.
wow, I want to make this work. And so, you know, not being afraid to share your story. Like, I can't stress that enough, because we could be saving so many lives and inspiring so many people. You know, President Obama said, we are the change that we're looking for. We're the change that
And
we
it
see.
begins with us.
And it definitely begins with us. So we can be that spark.
Is there anything that we're going to start tying up? And I'm expecting another guest, but my guest is running completely late. So we're hoping that he can come through before we end with you. But if not, then we will have to probably pause and start over. I apologize to my guests. But is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers, let them know anything in particular about you, about what you stand for, about what you plan to do in the future? What are your plans? Anything that you want to say?
First, I want to say to all of you all, thank you for tuning in. I don't even know all you all, but as I learned in church, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I appreciate you all so much, and thank you for this opportunity to just be on this show and to watch radio. You all are just tremendous and phenomenal. You know, for more information, you can go on my website, www.jamelhenderson.com, or you can add me on Facebook at Jamel Henderson, and I'm not afraid to go anywhere to speak to our community. So if you know some community organizations that are looking for speakers or, you know, panelists, please reach out to me. I will make myself available. And it's just about having fun and being different. So like when we talked about leadership, one of the new things that I do now, I am a coach. I
Coach of?
I coach 5th, 6th grade women's track, cross country.
Oh, fifth
And-
grade women's track.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And literally, as of yesterday, I just coached. I'm an assistant men's soccer coach. Now,
Who are
what's
you working
funny-
with?
This is through Friends Seminary where I work at.
Okay.
Now, what's funny about this is give you a little sneak peek of what my leadership workshop is about, because one of the things I say is get out your comfort zone. I know nothing about soccer.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
So I'm a little bit lost
Wait.
there. So do you know about track and field?
I know
then?
about track and field.
Okay. All
But
right.
soccer, I know nothing about.
Okay.
So you want to talk about getting out of your comfort zone? It was
This is it for you.
this is it. And we have a game on Monday, and the head coach will not be there. So I will be leading my first coaching game and taking on as the coach. And what I've learned was that just like life, it's uncomfortable, but you rise up, you do what you got to
Well,
do.
do
and
you
be
at
ready.
least in the past, like, okay, so
Yes,
let's
I've watched soccer games.
okay, but let's go. Let's throttle back a little bit here. Let's throttle back a little bit because we really don't want. So let's talk about a little bit about. Do you know some of the technicalities? Do you know?
Listen, I have one of my best friends who is a huge soccer fan. So trust me,
Oh,
he's
okay. So
giving
you
me
have some help.
yes, he's giving me the one-on-one intensely. So right after this, I'm going to be meeting with him to
Oh,
get out
okay. So
everything.
he's really schooling you
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
yeah. When I
And
told him
you don't know anything.
he
about
told
soccer?
me the news.
I mean, I don't know anything about soccer, but I love soccer. Like
I
I
do.
can
I'm
watch
learning
the
to
game
watch
and
it.
pick up on some things.
Like,
I'm not a hardy on sports, but
But
soccer
see-
is one of my favorites to watch.
But for me, I'm a fast learner. So
Mhm.
I've always been that way. So when I first got the challenge, I was like, uh-oh. But then it's like, no, bring it on, because
and they looked to ask you for it. It wasn't something that you decided.
I
you know
did
what,
not
let me go.
ask. They were just like,
Oh.
I see the way how you are with the kids. I love your motivation, inspiration. Tell me what you think. And I was like, I honestly don't, but I'm not afraid to give it a
That's
try.
really
And that's
interesting.
beautiful because how can one gain experience without an opportunity?
It
So
is
I have
so
the
true.
opportunity. And so now I can say, wow, I've coached something that at
I had
first I
knew
had
nothing
no idea
about.
about, but trust me, 6 months from now, I could be like, nope, I can tell you about this, 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 this.
Mhm.
And I think that's so beautiful
Mhm.
about, life and just having the ability to gain experience by just kicking that, making your own opportunities or seizing an opportunity that's presented for you. And so that's the essence of leadership to me.
I think that's one of the things about leadership that a lot of people don't understand. That
Yes.
even though you are a leader, that doesn't mean that you cannot learn anything or you
Yes.
cannot take anything in from whoever is around you. Because being a leader is being able to understand and to appreciate that there are individuals who are there
Hmm.
that can tell you something extra.
And it's so interesting because, I strongly believe that you're always going to be learning something new every day. Leadership doesn't die. You're
Mhm.
always going to be learning to even be a greater and effective leader. And
Mhm.
so, why not test the waters? Why not be in that uncomfortable space?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
that can make you stronger. And so, I learn and strive to do that every single day.
Mhm. Mhm.
That you can always learn to do new things and gain opportunity and gain experiences. If the opportunity doesn't present itself, seize that, find it, make it your own, and go for it. What do you have to lose? You have so much to gain,
Right.
right? And if, especially in our communities, if we don't see the opportunity, like I said, we got to grasp it for ourselves. We can't be afraid. And
I'm
so
still a
I'm
little bit flabbergasted and taken aback that you're teaching the soccer, but you have no idea. So I'm still a little bit out of it.
Listen, we have our first game Monday, so trust me. Between my best friend and a lot of prayer, we will win the first game. I think we'll win the first game, and I'll
Well,
come
I'm
back and share.
rooting. I'm rooting. What's the name of the team?
This team is the Friends Seminary Owls. I don't know. I think we're taking on Nightingale, which is this is a
Okay.
private school,
Okay.
and
Is
so
it a girls' school? No.
this is a co-ed school. So this is seventh and eighth grade men's.
Is it Nightingale in the city? Because
I
I've
believe
heard that
so.
name
Yeah,
before. I
yeah.
think
I
it's
don't
a.
know exactly where, but I
Okay.
definitely know it's in the
Okay.
city.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
Jamal, I want to thank you so much for coming in. Like, there was so much information, and
Thank you.
it was so interesting. And the ending part was like, you're teaching the soccer, you have no idea. Like, but you do have help. So I want to big up your best friend
Yes,
who
yes.
has your back in this time of need.
Thank
That he
you.
knows that he needs to come through and help my brother. You gotta help my brother Jamal here because
And if we
you
win the
know.
first game, I'll post it up and share it so you can see like it
Yes,
worked. It
it
worked.
worked. It worked. Whatever it is that you and your best friend are doing, it definitely worked.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so
Thank you.
much for coming in. I want to really applaud you
Thank
for
you.
all that you have been doing in the community, all that you are aspiring to, really trying to be an advocate for young voices, really trying to be a role model, a leader, um, a teacher for those who think that it's it's not attainable. And it's a lot of how we look at life is so amazingly different in so many different ways. We think that life should just be one set way, and life is just that. Life is life.
Yes, it is.
And there's so many different aspects of life. Just like we have the trees and we have the animals and we have the air and we have the water, everyone's life is different, and everybody's life means something and has a path that it has to take. And it is up to us as individuals to really look into ourselves and to see what it is that we have to offer in life and to really push through and tread through and make it happen. And it's just amazing that your story is one of those that you decided, no, I'm not going to be one of those statistics. I don't
Yes.
want to be one of those statistics because my life means something that
Yes.
I wanted to make a difference and I want to push through and tread through. And that's why I felt that your story really needed to, you needed to come on and you needed to really share it because I believe that it is so important.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you so much for coming in today.
My
I
honor.
want to wish you all the best in your endeavors. With your political aspect, with getting that second master's,
That's
with
right.
pushing through to that PhD. I'm gonna
Yes.
be looking in because I am following you on Facebook.
Thank you.
And as he said, you can always log on to his your website. Is your
Yes.
website
Website
www.jamelhenderson
JamelHenderson.com.
to keep abreast
Yes.
with what he's doing, to ask questions if you
Yes,
have
please
questions
do.
to ask, if you have a problem that you are not quite sure how to go about solving it or who to go to get information. Jamel is there to help. He is understanding. He is patient.
Yes.
And
Thank
he
you.
is a social person. He's someone who is there for the community. He has grown up in the community, so he understands what the community is going through. So if you have questions, please feel free. Sorry, well, sometimes I do this, but please feel free to reach out to Jamel on his website, or you can add him on Facebook and
Yes,
send him a
please.
message, and he will get back to you as shortly and as quickly as he possibly can. So Jamel, we're going to take a short pause,
Okay.
and we're going to say goodbye to you.
Thank you.
And we do want you to come back to Watch Radio.
Yes,
Come back to Watch
definitely.
Radio. Let us know what's happening. At the end of the day, we are about informing, but we are also about entertaining and about
Yes.
partying and about life. So,
So I could share a
Karma
little.
Carnival
Oh
is always
yeah.
welcomed here.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
so we wish you all the best, and
Thank
we
you.
hope to see you soon.
Thank you so
Yeah?
much. Really appreciate
Okay,
it.
so my guests, I'm going to stand up now. I'm going to take a little pause so that we can bring in our next guest. Just bear with us for a few seconds, and we'll be right back. I am ready for you. Come on. So stick around for a little bit. And then
Excellent.
So we're back, and this is my next guest, Pastor Ben, and
Wow.
everyone knows Pastor Ben. Yes, Pastor Ben, it is such a wonderful pleasure to meet you.
I'm telling you.
How are you doing today?
Thank God. Excellent. Doing good in good spirit. Really, really a delight to be with you, Dawn, to be on, let's get the name of the radio again.
Watch Radio.
Watch Radio, all of you people, all of Watch Radio audience. Massa SP pour tous ces Saint-Lucien qui a écouté
mon
bonjour.
Dieu.
Moi, veux dire, moi, apprécier sa quantité Saint-Lucien qui a regardé nous et puis qui a écouté nous.
That's
Big up
wonderful.
to you, big up to you. It's a real delight watching the St. Lucia flag. Bonjour, good afternoon. It's
Buka some
really-
Bella, Pastor Ben, with your colors and, your brown, your dark brown, your tan, your Lucian flag. Pastor Ben is really sporting there today, huh?
Well, Dawn, I have been in the television business for 35 years. In June, we celebrated 35 years on
That's
HTS
amazing.
TV. I
That's
want to thank you
amazing.
for that. And so I understand colors where television is concerned. So it's a deliberate act to make sure that your audience appreciates being able to watch you, and those listening, a very, very special good afternoon to them and to you, Dawn.
So, Pastor Ben, as you're here, let's just dive right into
Yes,
the
yes,
conversation.
definitely.
We're running a little past our time,
Right.
so we don't want to keep our viewers waiting too long for the next show, which is Woman Power.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about why you came up here. What is the reason that you were up in the U.S. and how long were you here for?
I have been here for pretty near 9 days. I was here specifically to host, be guest feature speaker on two major conferences. The first one is what we call a Retreat 2018 that took place at the Catskills, upstate New York. Awesome. I mean, we were at the Paulus Resort, and it's good to have a resort entire for yourself and the team. So about 100 people were with us
Wow,
there.
that's a huge crowd.
And yes, last year we were also there. I was a featured speaker last year, and they were impressed. The professor, who is responsible for Filio Outreach International Ministries on 1494 East 96th Street in Brooklyn.
That's
And
not
they
too far from here.
also really right. And so last year I was invited, and they were very impressed. And so this year they invited me again, and we had 4 days at the Catskills, and it was another awesome moment. And then today, this morning, Saturday, I was invited through Dr. Professor Guilford to speak at a very special workshop conference for the entire day, and that took place at Mount Olive Bible Institute and Seminary. Aveti. Semua kita pakai sago ponsa semua sadisasi. Latin doktor Telma Aveti. Bukan à l'hôpital. Just having
Tout
fun.
monde sait à docteur, oui.
Aveti. So, and these are the professors, the faculty, and the staff. They thought I should conduct an empowerment conference with them. And we started this morning at 10, and we just wrapped up a while ago at 4:30. And so I must admit, and the professor just asked, Pastor Ben, what's your take and how did it go? And I said to her, thumbs up to your people. They inspired me. So that was my main reason for being here, to speak
On
at the
the
Catskills
empowerment.
and also the empowerment. Yes.
So your reason for being there and for doing the workshop, so what do you expect to gain, not only for yourself, but for your ministry?
Generally, you have networking. For example, the people I met today, I never knew anyone.
Of course.
So immediately, I
Écoutez,
have
toutes ces
increased.
docteurs,
Veti.
God.
You know, professor this, doctor this, because they are faculty and staff of
Exactly,
this, of
exactly.
this institution. So that's a new network. Already I've invited them to St. Lucia.
Wow.
So St. Lucia can look out, because let me just jump the gun quickly. Dawn, next year, God willing, this time, September, October, I will be celebrating 40 years of full-time ministry in St. Lucia.
That's amazing. So I'm predicting and forecasting and seeing a big event.
Oh, huge.
Where
Big is a
you
small
have a
word.
weekend workshop seminar celebration, and you bring in all of these
let
doctors,
me
doctor
give-
this and professor
Tell you,
that.
Simon Maladio Nipujewi. I am expecting a huge event, not big. It's going to be one celebration in 2 locations. Up north, I'm expecting to have a huge celebration. I'm hoping that the Lord would provide a miracle of getting one of our top-of-the-line hotels, some 300 space at a conference room. And all the people of St. Lucia, people of all walks of life, who have supported me during the last 40 years, I will be inviting.
But that's an amazing journey and an amazing story to see unfold. Imagine you're sitting there and you're seeing like your first day when you started, pictures, stories being told, memories being forthcoming.
Yes.
That is something that
Yes.
that I can see would be such a wonderful experience.
I started planning it since last year, and I've been on the move. I am expecting that we would be able to do quite a lot for it, because 40 years in ministry is something.
It's something.
And no one has experienced it before in our country, and I'm grateful that I was able to, reach this part. Today, this is the 22nd, it was exactly 39 years
So
when I
con-
was installed.
So this is your anniversary today.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes,
happy
yes.
anniversary, Pastor
Merci,
Ben.
thank you so much, Dan.
So my thing is, it is such an amazing story that you, St. Lucian, called from St. Lucia, travel up to the U.S., to New York, where, let me tell you, we have professionals
Yes.
to the highest degree.
Yes.
My guest and I were just speaking about that. CUNY is one of the universities that is known throughout the 5 boroughs of New York that has at least one CUNY school.
Right.
And we produce, because I am a CUNY student, we
Thank God.
produce some
Hats off to you, my
amazing
girl.
professionals,
Right.
doctors, PhD recipients that really make an impact in the community. And to see that those doctors and officials
Yes.
looked to you, Pastor Ben,
Wow.
to come up here and address a large
Ben.
number of people
Yes.
in that profession is something to really note and something to really take note of, to really aspire to really remember. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? What does that do for your heart, for
Listen,
your
your morale.
drive, for your
Yes.
drive in what you do as a minister?
As I answer this, let me say hats off to Russell Lake. I hope he's watching us
I hope
online
so.
on stream.
Russell is-
But Russell is special. He and Andre Paul. When Russell heard of it, he said, Pastor Ben, this is exceptional. And in order to give you a little feedback of how it affects me and what I feel, it's the interesting story of how it all started. I left St. Lucia 4 years ago. One weekend I decided I'm going to pack up my bag, go to New York, and I'm going to host my own conference. Now, how do you host a conference in New York where you don't have a church, you don't have a telephone, you don't have a microphone, you don't have a chair,
You don't have a conference
you have
location.
nothing. I took a flight and came to check somebody. One of our members belonged to that church, and that's Deliverance Center. I said to the pastor, I'd like to use the church. And so, well, okay, no problem. So I came up. And while I was there, I went on a radio station and had an interview, and this professor heard me. She popped in, and she
That's
thought,
where it started.
yes, she thought, wow,
rest
you've
is
got a
history.
message for the world.
Or the rest is the present.
Yeah, because we're still at it.
Because we're still at
Let
it.
me say, as a minister of the gospel, I am very grateful for the privilege to uplift the name of Jesus Christ. And there's something else, like I told the people today, I'm very patriotic. Moi, c'est Saint-Lucien ensemble.
Tout d'accord.
Ensemble, moi. Et moi, dis tout le monde, depuis où moi, et puis moi, ni camisole, moi, sous mon ni pour l'appel flag là. Parce que moi, j'ai chaillé toute burden, toute toi, crasse, Saint-Lucien. À sous épaule, moi, n'a prêté by tennis, Saint-Lucien. Chaque le ouais, ça, sous épaule, moi. C'est pas, non, ça pas là just pour style by.
No.
Ça, c'est significant.
Yes, it
And
makes it
so,
known.
as a St. Lucian, I feel honored to know that St. Lucia can produce a man of the cloth in the capacity of Little Pastor Ben, that's how they look at it. And the people of the international forum could want to come and be useful to them. And so I'm very grateful. And today, when I heard the introduction, I was grateful, thinking that I've covered 5 continents in the world, going out there, and we have not said anything about that. Russell said, Pastor Ben, you've got to let people know what's happening with you. I mean, how many people know that I've made 4 trips to Africa and Europe and Asia and Israel, the Middle East, with the Jesus message? So I'm just honored and grateful, and I'm ready to go, and I'm grateful to be here with the people of Watch Radio, and that's just the beginning, because I'm looking forward to a huge ministry in New York next year, God willing, and I will
Wow.
be organizing it myself.
So this is my question that I was just about
ahead,
to ask
go
you.
ahead.
I was about to ask you, what do you see happening for the years coming forward, moving forward with you and your ministry and the individuals that you have just
Impacted.
butted
touched.
heads with and
Yes.
brushed shoulders with?
Yes. Definitely, we're looking forward to expanding. Okay, the conference, I did one conference, and then I did another one the following year, because after they heard me the first day, they said, Pastor Ben, could you come back? I came back. And now we're about to expand. I'm going to be doing what I think is going to catch the New Yorkers and the New York City people's attention, both in the Christian and non-Christian world. I will be hosting what I call a warfare, deliverance, demonic conference. People are going to be hearing of deliverance from demons, deliverance from evil, witchcraft, sorcery, obia, parler de ça. Nous avons moun nan yon pouvoir non Seigneur Jésus-Christ, et puis moun ka vinn avec tout vieux spirit, toute qualité démon, toute qualité maladie, vieux spirit qui sorti en moun kon démon qui courir. And so I'm expecting, as we meet on Monday, I'll be meeting with about 7 pastors or more to discuss it, look at it, and then we'll
Take it from there.
let Watch Radio know what's happening. As soon as I'm satisfied that we're on the button, we want to have it between June, July, August.
During the summer, so
Yes.
that if you
You
have to
got
use
it.
an outdoor space,
Yeah.
then you
We're-
have enough
We are going to be indoors.
indoors.
Want to occupy a space where you have good sound system, you've got good seating, and blah, blah, blah.
And if the weather is not,
Yes,
conducive.
right.
Right.
So that's what's happening. And then in addition to that, I've started a building program in St. Lucia. Oh, it's been a while, Don. It's been a while.
Mhm.
I've laid the foundation, put up the columns, and a while ago, it was Yadi, yes. He said, Pastor Ben, what about your building? I thought, brother, you remember that? I said, the columns are up, the foundation is on. We're in the cul-de-sac junction, and we just have to try to pay off the mortgage. And as soon as that's over, then we continue construction. So we're expecting the people of New York, who we are now butting heads with and connecting, will decide to, hey, come over and see what they could do to help us. And, with
And be
this
a
big,
part of it as well, too.
yes. And this big celebration, I'm expecting people from all over the world to be with us in St.
And
Lucia.
with this building setting up,
Yes.
with them helping, they could bring in people, and you could have sort of like religious vacations where
Well,
they have workshops
you're
and
ahead of
empowerment
me.
ceremony. Oh,
I mean,
Pastor Ben,
are
I
you
just-
thinking? Are you thinking my language? I have already told two of these people. I want you to take a spiritual vacation to St.
That's
Lucia.
right.
I get ready for it in October, so they would come
And
for
this
the
will
big
help the St.
celebration.
Lucian economy
Well,
as
as for the
well.
economy, it's one of the big thing on my mind,
Mhm.
and definitely we'll be having people from St. Thomas, St. John's, Antigua, St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, and New York, across other states. I'm
And then
having a big
hopefully New
thing.
York will probably bring some of the other states like Connecticut, Philadelphia,
Yes.
Boston,
Yes.
Delaware. We have a close knit
So-
because those are close
States.
states that a lot of people from there travel to New York consistently.
Right.
And those are states that interact a lot with individuals here.
Talking about Delaware, I will be preaching in Delaware tomorrow, God willing.
Yes, yes.
And my wife has already mentioned to me, she said, my husband, why don't you get Pastor Bonnie, who's a Trinidadian?
So your wife
to
says
come
your
over."
husband,
Oh,
that's how she calls you.
calls me. And people just amazing to hear that.
I love it. I love it. Your wife
Yes,
said, my
it is so-
husband.
yes, that's how she goes. And I go, love. And she said, invite him to the meeting on Monday, God willing,
Mhm.
so that he could hear what's going to be happening next year at the major conference.
Mhm.
And so he could take his team from Delaware and drive 2.5 hours and come to the big thing.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's really interesting, yes.
So after the meeting on Monday, when are you going back home? And
I'm going home on Thursday, God willing.
Thursday.
Yes.
And then when you leave on Thursday, are you having any plans to come before the year ends, or is it going to be next year, God willing, that you are planning to make another visit and touch base?
Okay, I have no plans to come back before the year end.
Mhm.
As soon as I go back home, Don, it is like
Busy, busy.
fed over back to work. I need to put every I dotted, every T crossed for the first weekend in October.
Mhm.
I'm having a major celebration in the north and one in the south.
Mhm. And is it Vieux-Fort or is it one of the other?
VA4.
VA4.
I'm based in VA4. I live in VA4. I've
Oh,
always
okay.
always been there. I always, 39 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
and so a huge celebration for the south and one up north. So one weekend we're going to be in the south and one in the north.
So it's
And
going to be
so-
two back-to-back
Yes,
weekends.
yes.
And you're starting off with the south.
No, with the north
With the north, and you're
Yes.
giving it the bang
Yes,
in the south, in
yes.
your hometown.
community. Yes.
Okay,
So
wonderful,
this is
wonderful.
it, and I'm certainly expecting that I will be keeping in touch with Watch Radio. I'll be
Yes.
advertising you folks. I've started, and a big up to everybody in Watch
And
Radio.
we
and
would
our
like
audience.
you to send us information when you are setting
Oh,
up
yes.
your events, that we can let everyone know, because we have individuals from St. Lucia watching and people here. Maybe they're planning to go home and they would like to pop
Right,
in.
I was just thinking some people could start thinking of coming home in October, the first weekend, because the first Monday in October is a holiday,
Mhm.
and I'm going to host it on the Sunday. So the next day is a holiday, you relax, have fun,
right,
etc.
right.
And that's the big thing. I also expect that more St. Lucians would build up their spirituality while in New York.
Mhm.
You know, and like I told you, I enjoy
Mhm.
telling you.
Mhm, mhm.
For those of you listening and watching, I did tell Dawn, I said, girl, no matter how bad, quote unquote, we think our St. Lucian people are,
We
they
do have a
they have
fear.
a fear of God that came in us. And at some point, we decide, listen, enough partying. I want to give my life to Jesus Christ. I'm going to transform. And so I believe it's a good opportunity for us to see the St.
To
Lucian
connect with,
community.
yeah.
Yes, and I want through Watch Radio to connect with the diaspora. I want to connect with the St. Lucians in Boston, in New York, and Delaware, like you said,
Mhm.
because I have a passion for getting St. Lucians to know, hey, we're doing a great work for our country. Right now, we have serious crime challenges. As soon as I go home, I should have mentioned that
Mhm.
if all goes well with the Ministry of National Security, my first project is I'm hosting a major crime convocation. And that convocation, I'll be having, if all goes well, the officer in charge of all the police stations,
Mhm.
everyone, the officers in charge, the deputy, everybody connected to the area of crime, etc., the former police commissioners, and I'm going to be having this thing where I will be praying for and over them and inspiring them with a word of faith. Go out and fight the devil. Crime is more than natural and physical. Ou ni pou ni Satan an li don pou kalite kwim nan Adam moun ka fe. An moun pa sa just fe se kalite kwim sa don.
Oui, oui.
La ni pou nou vie spirit an li down.
Mhm. Un démon.
Yes, my girl. Eh bon, talo ka preach Don. Hallelujah. So Don, I'm really delighted and it's a real joy meeting my St. Lucian audience through Watch Radio.
So before we end, we're gonna tie up very quickly. What did this experience do for you? Like, what can you say that you took from those 9 days and coming into your weekend? What can you say that you have taken from all of this?
I can say clearly it has really lifted my morale.
Mm.
It has strengthened my personality. It has helped me appreciate Pastor Ben. Because, Dawn, and I'm planning to see how much I can do a survey. It is not a case where you have a guest coming to speak to the students of an institution, a prestigious institution. No, it was not the students I came to address. And I like to be very honest, like I told them. As a preacher, as a teacher, I have dreams. We all have dreams.
We do.
You know, where we want to reach in life or would like to accomplish before we leave this earth. I never dreamt of addressing professors and people
Dignitaries, yeah.
of that capacity. I mean, Don, almost everybody was a doctor of divinity or doctor of this. And here is Pastor Ben addressing them. They look up to me. I think it helped boost my morale and inspire me to continue to excel. And also, I like
And
to
to
say,
push through and tread through and to
Right.
not give up.
that's exactly what it's all about. So I feel a lot, much more confident
Mhm.
as I go back home and be with Russell. He's waiting for me
Mhm.
to give him what's happening with you all here
To
and
take
what
the
I did.
rundown, yes.
And then HTS has already said, Pastor Ben, we need you on the news. Because St. Lucians must know we have somebody from St. Lucia. We need to learn to big up and appreciate our own. And I need to start letting people know because I've done so much and I never said, like I said, I was here last year, year before.
Yes.
You know, I
And
remember.
Watch
I-
Radio
I
was here last year.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity now for our St. Lucian people to know
Mhm.
what's happening, and I would always post something to you all, message you all, and give you all a little update as to what's happening in St. Lucia.
So, Pastor Ben,
My dear.
I must say the wait was well worth it. Hearing about the good things that you were doing for the past week and what you have planned for your ministry, what you have planned for St. Lucia, what you have planned bringing in employment,
Yeah.
bringing in funds into the St. Lucian economy, which is really important
Very
because of our
important, Dawn.
strains right now.
Very important.
And it's something to note. We want to appreciate and applaud you
Thank you,
for
Dawn.
taking the step. And really, this is not something lightly. This is not something to take lightly because this is a really big deal.
Yes, it is.
And I'm sure when you first got asked, it was scary, a little bit scary, a little bit
Um,
overwhelming.
Let me use the word.
Petrified.
Not even know if it was overwhelming. It was just, I was very pleased because, Dawn, I know what God has deposited in me.
You have that faith in
I
you.
know. I mean, I know my level, my expertise, my gift. Russell and I attended Les Brown thing. He had a motivational speaking
I think
show
I remember.
in St. Lucia. And I'm being very honest. Afterward, I was told, Pastor Ben, Les Brown ain't got that much on you except popularity. Of course, Don. You talk about motivational speaker. If you want to get a motivational speaker,
You have
take
to
some time and
really-
listen to Pastor Ben, and you realize, wow, And so it was just a pleasurable moment.
Okay.
And I enjoyed the fact that I could put on my resume that
That you
I
do
addressed the Mount Olive Biblical Institute and Seminary.
And that's what I'm saying. That is
Yes.
such a big
Yes.
deal that should
Yes.
never be taken lightly.
One more thing, I must admit, the content of the work was huge.
Mm.
They asked me to prepare 5 papers. I had to make a presentation of 5
And
papers.
address all 5.
Yes, in one day. And it was amazing.
And you managed
How-
to do
oh,
it.
yes, I must admit, very, very confidently and comfortable. And my concern was, these folks are all in their PhDs in theology. And so how would they respond? And this afternoon, I was late because of that. They wanted to, excuse me, we want to say something about Pastor Ben. We want to say, let me testify what this thing did.
So
And
do
so
you
that's what
think
happened.
that your paper is going to be somehow published through the ministry? Are they going to make some kind of copyright of
They-
it? I think they
They,
should.
oh yes, I know for the retreat people they did. In fact, one St. Lucian got their monthly newspaper, and he met me. He said, "Pastor Ben, I saw your picture. I saw you in the casket." I thought, Jesus, thank you. So they will, and we are also hoping to let the public at home know. I think. Let me hear your view, Don. I think it's time for Pastor Ben to let the St. Lucian community at home in particular know this son of the soil is excelling and bigging up Jesus and St. Lucia where he goes. I need to, come on, go on the papers and let people know, go on the newsletter. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful, Pastor Ben. I mean, it all begins right here. You could say that you
Thank
started at Watch Radio.
Wow.
Because this is what Watch Radio is all about.
Yes.
Informing, letting people know what is happening around them, what is happening through them, what is
Yes.
happening over them. It is important to always know what is happening around you so that you can be informed, so that you can be more equipped to handle and deal with what is there in front of you.
When Russell came back last year and he spoke of Watch Radio, he got me excited. I knew he was able to convey to the St. Lucian public that this Watch Radio is going to be to the benefit of St. Lucians at home. And Russell, thank you, because it has already started.
Yes.
It has already started.
And we want
met
to-
the
we
guys.
really appreciate
we've
that.
not-
We
I've
ad-
not
we
met
do.
some of the boys around. Pastor Ben, you look the same way, man. long
But
time
Pastor
we
Ben,
don't
you
see.
haven't changed,
Oh,
I
yeah.
maybe a little bit of grays here
Oh,
and
yeah,
there,
it's gotta
but
come in, come
but
on, man.
but the same look, the same sparkly eye, the same enthusiasm and drive. I love the
Right.
drive that you have, Pastor Ben. I
Absolutely.
must say, it is really something that you are a mogul to really aspire to.
Yadi made a statement to me. He said, Pastor Ben, God, sorry, it doesn't matter all the negative things they say about you. You like you ain't take on nothing and look at you as a you. You let nothing break you down. You see, when you know who Jesus Christ is, and you've developed a personal relationship with him, when you understand the power of the name of Jesus, Don, demons, devils, Satan himself, if Satan walks in the studio now, I tell him to say, excuse me, Mr. Satan, get outside in the name of Jesus. And he must go, Don. He must go. Because I've got that power over Satan and demons. I have it because of Jesus. So when people talk their garbage,
They're baities.
you know, what do you say? Well, boy, that's how it goes.
Come see, come sir.
You know? Yes. And I must admit, I really enjoy the way you are working here at Watch Radio. I want to continue to inspire you, encourage you all.
Thank you,
At
Pastor
the
Ben.
close of our session in a moment, I want to pray for all the St. Lucians. I want to pray for Watch Radio.
By all
I
means.
never go on a show if I do not bless the people, because some of them are hurting. Some of you watching us right now, you're going through some difficulties, some of you social problems, emotional problems. You know, Jesus said, casting all your cares upon me, for I care for you. And Don, if I didn't know what it was to cast my care on him, I'd never be here today. And so faith in him will still move mountains.
That's
You
wonderful.
look like you're happy that I came.
Yes, I
I'm
am.
happy that I came.
So, Pastor Ben, we're going to tie up. We're going to say, as you said, say a wonderful prayer to
Amen.
our watchers, our listeners.
Amen.
Let's bow our heads.
Hallelujah. As I wait upon the Lord, I call upon you to join me. Father, in the name of Jesus of Nazareth, I raise my hand and I raise my voice on behalf of our audience, in particular our St. Lucian audience throughout the diaspora. In the name of Jesus, I pray for all of you watching. I pray for all of you listening. I decree and declare that the mountains in your life, they are coming down in the name of Jesus. I decree and declare that the crooked paths of your life are coming straight. The rough places are being made smooth. I decree and declare that the forces of darkness and the powers of hell and the enemy that set up to kill, steal, and destroy our people, I subdue his works in the name of Jesus. I pray, Father, that our people in particular and other New Yorkers, other people of all ethnicity in New York listening to us on Watch Radio, I pray that your hand of mercy be extended upon them and that salvation will come their way, that they would accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I bless the people in Jesus' name, and everybody in our audience and don't say amen.
Amen, Pastor Ben.
Hallelujah.
Amen. So, everyone, we're going to tie off. Pastor Ben is going to be right next to me to close off. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to tune in. I know that the show went way past, but in all aspects, you have to realize that it is important to appreciate the two individuals that I had here this evening. So, Pastor Ben, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate you coming in. We do not want you to stray away from Watch Radio. Be close. Make sure the next time you come to New York, you do stop by,
I'm
because you
flattered.
are
I'm
a
flattered.
family member of Watch
I'm
Radio.
flattered.
And I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. And until next week, I want to say to each and every one of you, make today count, because this is what we have, this is all we have, and this is what we have to give forth. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you much.
Blessings.
Stay blessed. Until next week, this is In the Now with yours truly, Sam D. And next week, In the Now will be at its usual time, 8:30 p.m. So, see you then.
Bye-bye. Mm.